Hello and welcome back to Inner Peace Place. I'm Karen. Today's topic is emotional strings, or as I like to call them, tentacles, and like a octopus tentacles. Go out in all directions. We all have habits of creating emotional strings or tentacles to situations or people or thoughts even, our pets, anything. Anything you can think of, we can make an attachment to it. And we create these very lovingly initially. We create them as a means to control other people. And many times that's an innocent thing, initially. It's not that we're wrapping them up in tentacles, trying to drown them or something. It's just that we're creating a lifeline, an emotional attachment to something in our lives and or thoughts. It can be old thoughts. Many times we create tentacles for protection. So perhaps you create tentacles to understand you've got an attachment to this person and you know how they're feeling before they come in the room or as they're coming in the room, just to make sure that things are going to flow in the direction you want. So there's a whole plethora of reasons to create tentacles. The problem with them is that they require an enormous amount of energy to maintain. Very similar to walls of protection where you're building something up to keep something away from you, emotional or physical. So tentacles can do the same thing as far as energy consumption. And each tentacle is independent of the next one that you have. So that's energy, this is energy, this is energy. So you can see it's a lot of energy that we have. And what happens is when you have multiple tentacles, like most of us do, some people don't, but the majority of us do, it makes you appear scattered because you're going out in all directions. You're not focused. You're thinking about this, or you're worried about that. You're trying to anticipate how this person is going to feel. It's very difficult to stay in a state of joy when you're scattered because you're not in the moment. Being in the moment, you take a breath and you release it and relax, and you find your connection with the all that is. Being in the moment means you're not putting energy into your emotional strings or tentacles. Now you can have tentacles attached to negative or positive types of things. And so in an effort to conserve energy and to radiate more love and light to others, you really do need to examine what you're attracted to, what you're throwing what your thought energy is going to. So the way we do this work is we want to always start small. Find a tentacle that you have created lovingly and with finesse. Maybe about a person. You want to find one that is energetic, has lots of history with it, so that you can see it easier. Then you want to go, is this healthy? Is this attachment that I think about a lot with that individual a healthy thing for me? Is it healthy for them? Is it joyful for me? Or does it create joy in their life? So you want to really analyze what the tentacle's goal is of its own. I mean, it has an energy life. It is a thing. It is a beingness of its own. You can also go and find the beginning of when you created that attachment or thought and figure out why you did it. Did you do it as a means of controlling an outcome? or controlling the actions of another. Always monitoring what they're doing. Watch, watch, watch. You know, a tentacle can be something temporary, like you're sitting there talking to somebody at a restaurant, and all of a sudden you realize the conversation next to you, you kind of zoomed in on it. That's a tentacle. You're putting energy into the energy that they have going on at their table. Instead of focusing on the conversation with the individual at your table. That's a tentacle. That's a simple one, but it is a tentacle. It's an emotional string that you just put out there to see what's going on. Guess you could call it being nosy, but nosy, short-term things could be nosy. Why do you do that? What is the attraction? Why did you start doing it? Look at all of the different backgrounds to these habits that you have and see if it still brings you joy. Does it give you a peaceful feeling at the end of the day? So let's say you found a tentacle that you don't appreciate anymore. Maybe it is eavesdropping on the next table or being nosy about what your neighbor is doing. You're throwing your energy out there. Looking at what other people have in their grocery cart and attaching value or none on it. You see, those are tentacles. Obviously, a tentacle could be related to your children, adult children even, what they're doing, and you're finessing, trying to figure out how you can get them to do what you want through energy, through a tentacle, through this attachment, an emotional string that you've got out there. So look at these and understand that the more tentacles you have, the less energy you have. So if you feel drained all the time, chronically devoid of nice energy, if you feel drained or frustrated a lot of the time, or if you're ill a lot of the time, look at where your energy is going. If you have a really strong habit of doing this particular game in life, then step back with your eyes wide open and understand that you're not alone. Try to find the common patterns in why you create these attachments or why you send out your energy to this situation when it really doesn't belong there at all. And with love and light and total honesty, because again, you're doing this for yourself and nobody else. Reel it back in and see how you feel. Does it make you feel less heavy? Do you feel lighter when you start reeling in all these tentacles that you had thrown out there a long time ago? Trying to control what the family dinner conversation is going to be. Reel it in. Just sit there with love and light and radiate love and light. And that will do so much more for your energy as well as the rest of the people in this example sitting at the dinner table. You can take a tentacle that has been out there a long time and follow it back towards you. So you can think of, oh yeah, I'm always in the middle of their business. I'm always there. That's one that I have. And you love it. And you say, okay, I needed it for some reason at that time. But follow it back towards you and try to figure out where it is. Where's it coming from? If it's not coming from your heart center, it's probably not one that needs to be maintained any longer. You can release it with love. You can surround the string with colors of light. You can use your imagination. You could see that string floating away, going back to all that is. Make something up that brings you joy. Maybe it's a little butterfly that flies away or whatever. There's no wrong way to do this. And you may find that with each tentacle, you want to do something different. Use your imagination. We want to have joy when we're changing our habits so that our ego goes, wow, that was kind of fun. I changed that tentacle, that emotional string, into a billion little bubbles that just floated away. I like that. Tease your personality self with the energies that can be attached to letting things go. It doesn't understand this, and you have to educate it. But do it again as you would a child, with kindness. They are doing an activity that you don't appreciate any longer, and you want to gently go over and redirect. That's a word I don't use enough. And that's something that is really very powerful in this work, is when you do have a tentacle and your personality self is very engaged with it, redirect that energy into a lighter and more joy-filled energy. Sending out beautiful thoughts to whatever created that in the beginning. Sending beautiful thoughts to the area of your body where it's housed. And try to find it and grab onto it enough, not mean grab onto it, but just lovingly embrace it and try to bring it up into your heart center. All of this takes practice. Don't feel that you're a failure or that you just don't understand it. Don't give up. If one thing doesn't work, try something else. And you can always email me. I'm happy to discuss it with you. Some new ideas. Love and light to you and your path. Have a joyful day, joy-filled day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.